Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 hardest Nintendo games ever. For this list, we'll be looking at the toughest games Nintendo has published. This will also include IPs owned by Nintendo that were developed by different companies. What's the toughest Nintendo game you've ever played? Let us know in the comments down below. Number 10, Super Mario Sunshine. As a follow-up to the all-time classic Super Mario 64, Sunshine is not only an excellent entry in the franchise, but also one of the toughest. As with many 3D games of its time, the camera controls are pretty awful, meaning you'll often be fighting against them. It also features some of the toughest 3D Mario levels ever, with the ones where you no longer have your FLUDD equipped standing out for being incredibly meticulous and hard. The most notorious level in the game, however, is the dreaded Pachinko one, which still haunts us all to this day. Number 9, Donkey Kong Country, Tropical Freeze. The Donkey Kong Country series is no stranger to some particularly challenging moments, but the latest game, Tropical Freeze, goes above and beyond. Playing as Donkey Kong and his family, you'll be tasked with overcoming increasingly tough levels that will require you to have quick reflexes and expert timing. Some have even complained that the game has way too much trial and error in its stages, leading to many playthroughs. Thankfully, for those who found the game way too tough, Nintendo introduced an easier Funky mode in the Switch port, which allows you to play as Funky Kong.
Not even Spikes can kill this dude's cool thanks to his sturdy surfboard.
Number 8, Mike Tyson Punch-Out. One of the standout games on the original Nintendo Entertainment System, Punch-Out is notorious amongst many gamers as being one of the toughest they played during their childhood. While there are plenty of challenging moments throughout the game, the main reason why this game is featured on this list is due to its final boss, Mike Tyson. In this final showdown against this real-life star, players must perfectly avoid and block his attacks, such as his uppercut that'll knock you out easily. Only players who know how to counter his techniques with expert timing will come out victorious. Number 7, Metroid Prime 2, Echoes. Metroid Prime was a genre-defining masterclass, and many had high expectations for its sequel. While it's an incredible game in its own right, its highly increased difficulty put a lot of players off. Alongside more powerful enemies and more limited ammo, the main reason for this bump in difficulty was the brand new Dark World, where you would constantly take damage when not near a light crystal. And we'd be remiss to not mention the Boost Guardian, who is one of the toughest boss fights in all of Metroid. Number 6, Kirby's Dream Course. As one of the easiest and pleasant franchises Nintendo has to offer, we're sure you're all shocked that a Kirby game made it onto this list. But it's for a good reason. Whereas the majority of Kirby's outings are platformers, this one is a weird miniature golf hybrid where Kirby must launch himself through various courses. Although the game starts off simple enough, as you get to the later stages, there will be no room for error. With limited shots and stages filled with hazards such as spikes, you'll have to pull off some incredibly perfect runs. Number 5, Sin and Punishment, Star Successor. The original Sin and Punishment for Nintendo 64 was already one of Nintendo's toughest, but its sequel decided to take things one step further. Battling your way through an on-rail shooter, you'll have to have expert timing on dodging all the enemy's attacks. The stages themselves are very trial and error, meaning you'll have to study enemy locations and attacks. And although the game is generous with checkpoints, the bosses themselves will try their absolute best to make sure you don't reach them with their incredible difficulty. Number 4, Zelda II, The Adventure of Link. The first game in the Zelda series was a challenging adventure where you were dropped in the middle of nowhere and expected to figure things out yourself. Its sequel, however, is a black sheep in the franchise due to the fact that Nintendo tried to meld open world and side-scrolling gameplay together. This resulted in the toughest game in the series, with limited lives and annoying enemies such as Darknuts, who were incredibly annoying to hit. It also features some downright annoying bosses, such as Thunderbird with its never-ending fire attacks. Number 3, Fire Emblem, Thracia 776. The Fire Emblem series can often be tricky in certain chapters, especially with the ones that have permadeath on, meaning if a unit falls, you lose them for good. The very last SNES title released in Japan, Thracia 776 has attained legendary status within the Fire Emblem fandom as its most brutally difficult entry. You'll be plunged headfirst into some incredibly difficult situations where every decision will be a matter of life or death. The game will constantly throw scenarios at you that you'll never see coming, such as numerous enemy reinforcements in all the worst places. We'd be here all day if we went through all of the mechanics that make this such a grueling game. But we definitely have to mention the annoying fatigue system as well as the awful status effects that never run out. Number 2, Super Mario Bros., The Lost Levels. There's a very good reason why this game didn't come out in the West until much later. Originally released in Japan as Super Mario Bros. 2, Nintendo of America decided the game was way too hard and instead decided to repurpose another game, Doki Doki Panic, as its Super Mario sequel. The Lost Levels is very much like its predecessor in the way it plays, except with the extremely ramped up difficulty. The game even introduced the poison mushroom item, which looks almost exactly like a regular one, except it punishes the player by shrinking or killing Mario and Luigi.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure to go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, F-Zero GX. Released to critical acclaim, F-Zero GX is considered by many to be the best futuristic racing game out there, thanks to its incredible speed and awesome track design. Its single-player story mode, however, is well known for its insane difficulty. The game has a very steep learning curve, and some of its later stages have an incredibly high skill floor. The AI very clearly cheats to catch up with you, and even the tiniest of mistakes will have you flying off the racetrack and into last place. For many, F-Zero GX is one race they cannot win.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.